Where does the worry in life come from? I have a friend who runs a business. He had made quite enough money to sustain his life even without working. However, he lost a significant portion of the money he had made over several years by getting involved in some risky business. For a while, he couldn't sleep well, and his life was disrupted. Later, he started a new restaurant business. Making money is not easy at all. Even though he worked very hard to sustain his business, returning to his previous prosperity was challenging. At one point, he wasn't even earning enough to cover his living expenses. Then he lost his appetite and suffered from insomnia due to worries about his life. His concerns started with financial issues and then extended to his children, wife, parents, and the future, seeming to have no end. So, I asked myself, where does the fundamental cause of worry come from? In 2009, we experienced a global economic recession starting with the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers Holdings Inc. Later, I read an article about a billionaire who committed suicide after losing a significant amount of money during the crisis. Even though he had lost a lot of money, he still had his life and his family. In my opinion, there was no reason for him to take his life due to monetary loss. However, I believe that he lost all meaning of life due to the loss of his wealth and was overwhelmed by worries, which I think ultimately stemmed from a fear of death. I believe that the fear of death consumed him and affected his soul and family. When the wealth that had protected him from the fear of death disappeared, he couldn't defend himself from that fear anymore. If he had known that his worries were not real but merely a paper tiger that couldn't harm him, he might have handled the situation better and could have lived a wonderful life and been a blessing to those around him. But his worries consumed him. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, worry is defined as mental distress or agitation resulting from concern, usually for something impending or anticipated, and an instance or occurrence of such distress or agitation. The real issue is mental distress from something, so that something comes from an unknown spot that we can't predict about the future. Then, what is the something? The something is clearly the matter of death. So, every moment, we're worrying for figuring the fear of death out. However, what I know clearly is that we're all going to die and we can't figure it out with our own might. Therefore, worry is somewhat redundant. No matter how rich, healthy, or wise we are, our ultimate destination will be death. Most of us don't ponder too much about why we worry daily or how worry can permeate all aspects of our lives. One worry leads to another, and eventually, we find ourselves worrying even about what will happen after death. This is comical and ridiculous to some extent, yet it is a tendency we all have. How pitiful we are! Who can escape the worry of life? Who can help us escape this cycle? I believe that no one can avoid worry. So why do we, as humans, carry all these burdens of worry? This is because we've lost eternal life and are destined to die. So, how can we overcome the worry of life? I believe that we must find peace and relief through obtaining eternal life. Only then will the worries and fears that bother us daily become redundant in our lives.